Hi you guys, it's Arielle. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today is my annual video on Paris pickpockets. I always like to put one of these videos out right at the start of summer before all of the vacations. I think it's really good to have this reminder at the forefront of your mind before you travel. And I'll be honest, the actual content of this video did change over the past 2 weeks. I remember Jean and I were sitting down for dinner 2 weeks ago and I was telling him, like, I think I'm going to put out a video to tell people that the pickpockets are gone. And the reason why I wanted to make that initial video is because it had been almost a year and I hadn't seen any of the main pickpocketing groups that I had seen in Paris for like 5 years. I'm talking about the clipboard ladies, the groups of like school children and their big black satchels where they, put all of the things that they've robbed from people. I hadn't seen that in a while. And I was under the impression that there had been some sort of police intervention in Paris, that they'd been extra great this year about, removing the pickpockets from the metro stations and really cracking down on them in the streets. And it was also a really good idea to me because it's happened twice very recently in my consultations that people have been very honest with me and told me that they are fearful of coming to Paris because they watch other YouTube channels that really make them scared to literally walk in the streets of Paris, and that they appreciate that I keep a pretty positive attitude about life, but also traveling in Paris. And hearing that made me really, really sad because Paris isn't an inherently dangerous city. It has the same problems that most big European cities do. Like, yes, there are pickpockets. Yes, there are certain dangers. And there are things to be aware of, to be cautious of. But to be terrified of traveling to Paris, I think is not just unfortunate, but it's not the right feeling that content creators should be giving you. Like, Paris is a lovely city. You will have a wonderful vacation here, but it is just important to be mindful of things like pickpockets, hence me making this video. What changed my mind about now making a video on warning you of the pickpockets is because I've realized that their strategies have changed. Last week, Jean and I both experienced 2 cases of pickpockets that we hadn't really seen before, or we hadn't seen in a long time. And I think it's a mixture of things. I think that the pickpockets have adapted, which is funny to say, but just like anything in life, think about an iPhone, right? Like, the new technology comes out, things are improved, they are looking at the user experience, and if you translate that to pickpockets, they adapt and improve their methods of pickpocketing people. So I wasn't seeing the old versions of pickpocketing. There are new versions that I want to talk about today. And the pickpockets that I saw specifically actually were so good that they even fooled me, and it made me so angry. It just made me angry. It's instead of me talking about my feelings, let me tell you exactly what happened. I have pictures to show you that I hope you can keep in mind. And if at the end of the day, one person stays safe from watching this video, then I feel like I've done a good job. So without further ado, let's talk about these new pickpocketing strategies. So I'll start with the case that I saw specifically like 3 days ago. I was traveling on line 9, which takes you across the right bank of the Seine. You have things here like the Eiffel Tower, the Opera House, Galerie Lafayette, the Marais. This metro line definitely does go through a lot of the tourist dense areas, the hotspots for tourism in the summer. And it's very well known that line 9, line 1, these are metros very often frequented by pickpockets. And essentially, I was getting off of line 9 at the station Nation. I will put a screenshot of where this is on the map. I was transferring to another train line to head out of Paris. And as I got off of the metro and I started walking towards the other trains, I came face to face with a man and a woman who looked like they were wearing a uniform. Like, I don't know how to describe it other than they looked incredibly professional. They had matching pants, they had a matching striped blouse, they had a matching cream-colored vest, And the woman specifically looked very well put together. She had her hair tied back in a bun. She was wearing earrings. She was wearing makeup. The reason why this fooled me is because she legitimately looked like she worked at this metro station. And in my mind, I remember as I passed her, I almost debated stopping to ask her if there was something going on. It looked like she was alerting people of something, but I didn't. Like, I just continued on my route. And before I got on the train that is connected in the Nation station, I just headed over to the ticketing machines because I wanted to film a little clip for the video that I put out on how to buy a metro ticket. And as I was purchasing my ticket, I noticed a group of 3 tourists from Italy who were really struggling buying their tickets, and I could hear that one of them spoke French pretty well. And so I debated stepping in, like I didn't want to intervene if they knew what they were doing, but ultimately it was very clear that they were struggling and they couldn't get the ticket that they wanted. And so I turned to them and I was like, "Oh, can I help you? Is there a problem? Do you need me to show you which ticket to buy and stuff?" And the younger woman turns to me. She's like, "No, I'm very confused. I thought that the train tickets were now €2.50. We're trying to get to Disneyland and I can't figure out how to buy that ticket." And I was like, "Oh, well, it's very easy. You just need a Metro/RER ticket," because now what they've done is they've combined all of the train and the metro tickets into one. So you don't need to select the station that you're going to. You don't have to pay a higher fee for traveling further outside of Paris like you did previously. Now it's just one ticket that's €2.50. And she was like, "Yeah, that's what I thought. But the woman over there was helping us and she was telling me that I was doing the wrong thing." And I was like, "You mean that woman right over there?" Pointing to the woman and the man with the blouse and the cream vest that I saw who looked like they worked there. And when we started looking over at that lady, she came over trying to help us. I assume I probably also looked like a tourist because we were speaking in English. And I just cut to the chase. Like, I looked at this woman and I spoke to her in French and I said, "Were you helping these women? Were you telling them that they weren't buying the right ticket?" And she was like, "Yeah, well, I was trying to help." And I said, "Do you work here?" And she goes, No, I don't work here. I was just trying to help them." And I said, "You were intentionally giving them bad advice." And I turned to the woman while she's there and I'm like, "This is a pickpocket. Do you have all of your belongings? You have your phone, your wallet? Please check your bags, like, while we're here." And as I started saying that to this group of Italian tourists, the pickpocket literally ran away with her colleague. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is their new scam." They dress up like they are Metro RATP employees. They come over and try and help tourists, and they distract them by giving them the wrong information. And while everybody is in this panic trying to buy the right ticket, they are pickpocketing you. And I was so angry. Eventually, I did help these women buy their tickets. They hadn't lost anything that they knew of. They were definitely frazzled and shocked and scared. Immediately, I went upstairs to report this because she had run off, and I was still there for a good 20 minutes because, like I said, I was filming the ticketing stations, and I see her and her colleague creep back down to Metro Line 9. So I went up, I reported it. The service agent at the desk obviously called in for help to go down and look at the Metro Line 9 platform to get them out of there if they were still there. But I just want to reiterate, and I will put a picture on screen, that this woman and man looked so professional. They legitimately looked like they worked there. And if you could deceive a local who literally makes videos about pickpockets, then I have no doubt that this is working out very well for them. And I want to remind you guys that it is totally fine to need help in a metro station, but you should always look for an RATP employee, and they are very, very easy to spot. I'll put a picture on screen. They are head to toe in blue. They have their darker blue uniform, and on top of that, they wear a turquoise blue, very bright blue vest, and it says RATP on the back. They have their badges. That is the RATP uniform. It is standardized across all of Paris. It is a bright blue, especially the vest that they wear. And it's not a puffer vest, it's like a polyester vest. So please, if you're in the metro, avoid any help that's coming from anybody who even looks the most professional in a suit, if they're not wearing RATP uniform, then they are really not there to help you. They're there to confuse you and to rob you. So that's the first situation that I wanted to talk about today. Next, I wanted to go over what Jean saw in the metro because I think it's both interesting and hopeful. I think there's some good lessons we can learn and tips that we can take from that. So Jean goes into the office pretty often, and the office that he works at is in the center-ish of Paris. So he very often travels on the metro during rush hour when people are going to and from work. And the metros at this time are usually not crowded, but jam-packed. I'm talking cans of sardines pressed up against the walls and the windows, packed. And he was telling me that on one metro ride back home, he was in this crowded metro and they were between stops, and a woman starts screaming in the metro, "I'm missing my phone, I'm missing my phone." And she was screaming in French. So she wasn't a tourist, she was a local who, like Jean, was just coming home from work. And she starts screaming to everybody in the metro car, "I've lost my phone, it was in my pocket, somebody has my phone." And obviously nobody came forward with her phone. And then she goes, "My phone is linked to my Apple Watch. I'm going to push this button on my watch and my phone is going to set off an alarm. And whoever has my phone, we will be able to identify in 10 seconds. So either give me my phone now or I'll push this button and I'll find you." Obviously, no one comes forward. And the metro is still between stops, so the pickpocket can't run away and out of the metro. She pushes the button on her Apple Watch. I didn't even know this feature existed, but if you have an Apple Watch, this is your sign to link it to your phone, because as soon as she pushed that button, everybody in this car could hear her phone go off in a gentleman who was, I don't want to say gentleman, in a man who was just a few people away from her. And he goes, "Oh, well, I didn't know how it ended up in my pocket. I didn't do that. Oh, here's your phone," pretending that he hadn't done anything at all. So at the end of the day, she actually did get her phone back. But I think this highlights two things for us. Number one is that pickpocketing in Paris is becoming more and more well documented. You have a lot of content creators on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, who are constantly posting not just information about, but videos of pickpockets. And so it's becoming easier for tourists and locals alike to identify them in the public transportation systems. And so what they're relying on is crowded trains, people who leave their phones in their pocket, and because everybody is pressed up against one another, whoever has their phone in their pocket won't necessarily feel a pickpocket taking it out, because literally you're getting shoved around everywhere. So I think this is just a really good reminder to never keep your phone in your pocket, your front pocket, your back pocket, in an open pocket of your purse, in an easy access pocket of your backpack. Your phone should always be hidden, whether that's in a crossbody like what I use or zipped in your bag. It should always be at the front of your body. You should never, especially when the metro is crowded, be leaving anything of value in a backpack that is behind you that you can't see. I think that's lesson one. Lesson two is, like I said, if you can hook up or connect your Apple iWatch or any smartwatch you use to your smartphone and create that alert system. I'm sorry, I don't have an Apple Watch. I have no idea how she did this, but I think it's a really great sort of fail-safe if ever you do get pickpocketed and you have that opportunity between metro stations to set off the alarm and call someone out before they have the chance to leave the metro. So those are the two situations that Jean and I literally saw within the last 5 days on the Paris metro system that I wanted to make you guys aware of. Like I said, it is important to stay alert, to stay informed on the pickpocket situations and the latest innovations when it comes to pickpocketing tourists, but it doesn't mean that you should be fearful of coming to Paris. It's not a dangerous city. It is just a big city, and you have to be aware of your belongings at all times. I really hope that this video was helpful to you. It breaks my heart, honestly, when pickpockets prey on innocent people who are just coming to Paris to have a nice time. And I really hope that my videos allow you to arrive in Paris and leave Paris with all of your personal belongings and not having been robbed of anything on the way. I will continue to update you guys if I see any new pickpocketing scams, or if I feel like there's any important updates that I want to give. I will make a video pretty fast. I think as we head into the summer tourism season in Paris, then we might start to see more things evolve when it comes to the Paris pickpockets. But for now, that's all I wanted to share. Make sure you guys stay safe when you're traveling in Paris. Make sure you have a good time as well. We're having great weather. I have no doubt that your trips will be fantastic. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know if you've seen these Metro Line 9 pickpockets. I asked Sean, he hadn't seen them yet, so it could be a brand new method. But yeah, I'm very curious to know what you guys think down below in the comments. And I hope you have a great weekend. I'll see you guys in the next video.